Okay, number 7 of the pretest. And I like this. On the answers, they have, how can you adjust the line of this graph to make it the line of best fit? But I did notice that when I looked at the question, the question says, how can you eject the line of this graph to make it the line of best fit? Guys, we're going to have to know that everybody makes mistakes, and sometimes you just have to figure out what the question is asking. So it's how can you adjust the line of this graph to make it the line of best fit? Let's stay with the question on this one, and let's put in our own correct line of best fit. What do we see that's wrong with their line of best fit? Can you see that our B would be way down here and they have their B way up there? So we need to adjust our line down something like this. Does everybody agree? Because there are no points up here. We wouldn't want our line up here. Our line has to be in the middle of most of the points. And this would be more in the middle. Does everybody agree? So how would we adjust our line? Well, let's look at our answer choices. Would we increase our y-intercept, our B? Now they have our y-intercept at 6. When we drew our line, our y-intercept was really more like the origin at 0. So if we increase from 6, we're going to get more than 6 way up here. And that does not make a line of best fit. So increasing the y-intercept is not a good idea. It says decrease the y-intercept. Is that a good idea? If we go from 6 to 0, is that a decrease? Yeah, that would be a good answer choice. But we have to look at the slope. So we can eliminate the first one and the third one, and now we have to figure out what we have to do with our slope. Okay, we figured out that we have to decrease the y-intercept because it would almost be 0 in a correct line of best fit, but we also have to figure out our slope. Our slope on their line, we figured out, was pretty much rise 7, run 10, which would be 7/10. So let's figure out what the slope of our line would be. If we say we're starting at the origin, it's easy to see that we rise 4 and run 5, and 4 divided by 5 is 0.8, and 0.8 is greater than 0.7. So we would see that instead of decreasing the slope, we would need to increase the slope. Does everyone agree? We eliminated answer choice A and answer choice C because they said to increase the y-intercept. Then we had to compare their slope, and we said it was approximately rise 7, run 10, because it was a little more than rise 6, since we're counting by 6s on our y, and we're counting by 5s on our x. So we have 7 over 10, but because our line of best fit started at the origin, it was quite easy. We rose 4 and ran 5, which is 0.8. And 0.8 is greater than 0.7. Or maybe you're one of those people, you can look at the line and see that this line, our line, is more steep than their line. And the higher the steepness, the higher the slope. So we'd have to increase the slope. Okay, number 8. Jack is doing an experiment to find the rate. What's another name for rate? Did everybody say slope? The rate or the slope at which the water flows from a tap into a tub. He records the height of the water every minute and plots the data using a scatter plot. What is the height of the water after 3.5 minutes? Well, here we have time in minutes and height in centimeters. So after 3.5 minutes, we go to 3.5, which would be 3.5, and we see that it crosses our line about there. Where is about there? Well, about there would be between 15 and 20. Looks like maybe a little closer to 20. So what answer do you think? I was thinking maybe 18. And the answer key, let me see if I can change to the answer key. The answer key says about 17.5. 17.5 is more than 15 but less than 20. Is that a reasonable answer choice? I'd say yes. So 17.5, 18, 17, pretty much anything except maybe 16 or 19, as long as it's between 15 and 20. So 17.5 is a good estimate. I hope you agree. Okay, number 9. The equation y equals 30x plus 40 represents the line of best fit, showing Ted's earnings in terms of the number of hours he works as a plumber. If x is the number of hours he works and y is Ted's earnings, which statement describes this situation correctly? Well, let's look at our equation. Our equation is y equals 30x. What did we say we always start with? We always start with our y-intercept, our b. So, we need to go to our answer choices, and our initial charge, which would be our B, needs to be 40. In A, it says the initial charge is 30. That would be incorrect. In B, it says that Ted's initial charge is 40. That's correct. But in C, it says Ted does not charge an initial amount. What would an equation without an initial amount look like? It would just be y equals mx. It would not have a b. But we clearly have a b, and it's clearly 40. So C is wrong. And D is wrong because it says the same thing. So our only answer choice is B. But let's check the rest of the answer. It says, and his hourly charge is 30. His hourly charge is his rate. And his rate is always his slope. And his slope is always the m. So, do we have 30 in for our m in our equation? The answer is yes. So we have a rate of 30 per hour, and it says X is the number of hours he works. And his initial charge is 40, so that would be my B. And when we say 30 times however many hours Ted works, plus our initial charge of 40, we would get our Y, Ted's earnings. That one wasn't too bad. It looked hard, but it wasn't that bad.